What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's recap and then our plays tomorrow. We have some earlier games tomorrow, so I wanted to get this out now. And tonight was not a good night. I'll be the first to admit it. Like I said, it's just impossible to do good every night and not have stretches. As I said, I've been closing up hanging chads, which basically means open sequences. We did hit our NBA leg threes. We got both the Thunder and Lakers. But the college ones that usually come through, we missed. Tulsa missed, as USF missed as well, the under there. So those two I closed out. We did close 6 sequences, and on the Avalanche, we'll get a little bit of plus odds, 1.25. But again, not a great night. The good thing is, if you notice, most of these were leg ones for a reason. When I play a full schedule, I don't just, again, we've closed most of the leg 2s, 3s, so now the goal is to open up new sequences and close them. So, and of course, close the ones that haven't been closed. So outside of the Hawks was a leg 2 loss, but we wound up closing that with the Lakers leg 3. So we only had to go 1 for 2 and close that one out. So I wanted to go into tomorrow's. We just narrowly missed the under on the Avalanche. I'm just getting acquainted with hockey. We're going to see how that works out. Now, as far as our plays, there's a simple reason. There's about 8 or 9 of them. And I won't bore you by going into every one. I'm just going to show you why I picked them. So, we can go back as far as we want. 5, 6 years, 10 years. But my point is, just go back here. If you go at the over-under, let's look at teams that played a full schedule. First one's Richmond at 31 games, and then you can see that they got 74.2. And then the next one underneath them would be Sanford at 70. Okay, these are full schedule teams. Now, it's not always that way. Here, Virginia got 76. The next one online was at 70. The same typically applies for the under. You see we have one here, New Hampshire at 22. Then it jumps to 28. Okay. So this is the reason I stick to these metrics. Does it always work? No. Here we had 2 teams in the high 70s and then it dropped. And again, you always see like one team in the low 20s and then it jumps. The same is true for against the spread. Okay. Now you can see this year Tulsa's at 13%. And I know people have their stances on like chasing, but to me it's not as much chasing. I play them. I'm not going to do a leg 4 on them. Now you see Pacific did 15.4 last year, and even that is an outlier because you'll see almost every year it's 20. So I just do not think Tulsa finishes worse than Pacific. So that's my point with these teams. They didn't do well tonight, but that's where I pick these metrics. You can see that mostly all these teams are in the 30s, and they finish out that way. Now we get to this year. And the against the spread is pretty normal. This isn't. Tulsa, Notre Dame, they're not going to finish. And Georgia State, you're going to have a couple teams in the high 20s. You're not going to have 2 teams finishing under 20, and in my opinion. So no Notre Dame, Tulsa, great takes. And for the over-under, more importantly, all these teams in the 20s, that's a lot of teams. It is the high 20s, but I only expect about 3 or 4 of these teams to finish in the 20s. And for the over in the 70s, same thing, just off historical norms. So because of that, that's why I decided these games, and that's why I'm going to plug them in where we do, okay? So St. Francis, PA plays St. Francis, New York. They're both known for being slower-paced teams, not high-scoring teams. So, I think the public will be not taking the over. And again, I just think historically it has to balance out. Here's UAB. I think it's good to play as a leg 2. While they could improve to, say, 78%, I'm just playing the odds. And again, we don't need to hit all these. We just want to at least hit about 60%, which I think we will. Third, we got Stonehill LIU. Same principle. Stonehill's been terrible on the over, and I just think people are going to slam the under in this game. So we plug that in. Next one is San Diego St. Mary's under. Again, San Diego very good on the over. Another thing I noticed is when teams, and San Diego went under once or twice in a row now. Once they, like UConn started off like 9-0 against the spread. Now they're not even in the top 15. Louisville started something like 0-9 against the spread. They're not in the bottom 15. I've noticed once teams start breaking the spread, whatever the spread, that like say they're great on the over, it will happen for many games in a row, I've noticed. So the only other leg 2 I like besides all those is, and I'll go into them, is Oregon State, Washington State. I like that to go over for a couple reasons. I said before, it seems like they're pushing pace in the West in all the sports, the Pac-12 and football. And in basketball, it just seems like they want this kind of high scoring type vibe. That being said, Oregon State has gone under a lot, and I think this would be the game for an over. So I picked that as the leg 2 versus other ones, more just because of, again, this is the geography of how they're setting up. It seems like these different divisions and conferences. So as you can see, we don't have any leg 3s, and that's why, while nights like tonight weren't fun, we closed out. I had to go back, so many sequences to close out. We're hundreds and hundreds of sequences in now to close out all the leg 3s we had. So we'll have some leg 2s. Of course, some of these will go to leg 3, which is fine. The goal, again, we want to win 7 for every leg 3 we lose. So today we lost 2 leg 3s, not great. We only won enough to really negate one of those. The 7 sequences negates 1 leg 3 loss. But as I said, since the beginning, we're winning about 20 or so for every leg 3 loss. So they'll come in bunches, you'll see. But then you'll see we'll go a long, long time without getting any. So it really just, you'll see this stretch here, and then we got Tulsa. And people have joked, man, like, you see Tulsa 4 times just in the last, probably a week or so has really got us bad. But then you see this stretch without any leg 3 losses, and then the last one, again, is Tulsa. So you can argue Tulsa's been a thorn on our side, but they've come through earlier in the season. And I went through this earlier, and I went through every single pick we've ever done. And while we've had some that have really not come through, here's Tulsa again. Actually, this was tonight. So I went back and we see how it's USF Tulsa. That was tonight, so that wasn't from before. So my point is, we only need 7. So it doesn't seem like a leg 3 loss is rough. Here's one where Tulsa came through for us 2 nights in a row. So they come through sometimes, and you can see easy 7 sequences between every time we lose 7. So that's the goal. Like I said, we're going to have the 3 leg losses, but it's always about mitigating them, and we've done a good job at that. So just to go into the final basketball games, the rest are leg 2s. San Diego St. Mary's under, Stonehill over, UAB under, Oregon State over. I went into those. And then I do like, again, St. Francis. Both St. Francis play each other. I like that over. And I like, these are all leg 1s. I like Georgia State to cover Coastal California, because Georgia State's really bad against the over. They're in against the cover. They're in the 20 percentages. I like the Rice Texas San Antonio game to go under, because Rice is really high on the over. And I like Merrimack to go over. Like I was saying earlier, Merrimack's starting to hit a few overs in a row. So I wonder if it's almost like a sign. Like once they hit 1, it's like they hit at least 3. So normally this Merrimack would be a leg 2. Merrimack's one that came through. So as bad as Tulsa's been for us, Merrimack's closed so many leg 3s for us. It's been insane. That's why they're only a leg 1 now, because they were at like, that's what I was saying. They're at like 12% on the over, and now they're all the way up to like 31% because they went over like 2-3 times in a row. So I thought it'd be a little less cluttered if I did them separately. So here's our college plays for tomorrow. These are all the college ones I like. And I'm going to I'll do NBA. We only have 3 games, I think. And we can do hockey as well. Like I said, I've been working on an interview. I don't know if it's going to be March or April. Probably March. I'm hoping it's March. It's just really going to depend on scheduling and things of that nature. But I think you guys are really going to like it. I know you know the person. And like I said, I just want to verify with them. It's cool that I bring everything up. But from what I could tell, everything is going to be good. And it's just going into specifically I'd say, inside basketball in this case, as to what's really going on and the motives of the league. The league has a lot of motives, and they have a lot of things they don't want people figuring out. So I'll have more information, but if you guys, like I said, I'll be posting stuff on my community. I really think you guys will enjoy my interview. I did put something out in my community too. It'd be cool if you guys check it out. I think it might get people just looking at it from a different perspective as far as the league. But here's our play for tomorrow. Again, rough night, but that's why I stick to the system long term. It's easy to want to chase this Tulsa to a leg 4, but we're not going to do that. Again, we're up, even with the recent losses, I think it's around 58, 57 units or something like that. So even during rough patches, you can see we're up always big time. It's never dropped to like 10, 20 units, which would still be good. Nobody, I don't think, can consistently say they're up. My point is, the reason that doesn't happen is because I've not to be braggadocious, I've been extremely meticulous and I've been extremely detailed with our money management and with our increments, just to make sure that even if we're not hitting at 60, 70%, like we usually do, we're still going to weather the storm. And most importantly, like poker, you want to mitigate your losses. And that's what we've done a good job at. So we'll be doing well. Hockey could really help us because we'll be getting plus odds. So going forward, we might do that. And baseball season's coming around. And a lot of people can't wait for baseball. I get why. I think I told you guys this before. So I started this when September 24th, the playoffs, the MLB playoffs were started. And I really wasn't using metrics. I was just kind of going with who I thought was going to win the World Series using gematria. As you could probably guess, it did not end well. But the person who started this system was years ago. I basically took a half-made system, a martingale variation that was working. It was backlogged. That's why I call it the rig system. It's the random internet guy system. And I just incorporated it. He used it for baseball. He specifically used it for baseball sweeps. So it actually is the most advantageous for baseball, especially if we're going to be laying a run and a half, knowing which, we'd have to analyze a lot of things. But yeah, just to show you guys, this system wasn't even meant. It's not that it wasn't meant, but but the person who first used it that I saw for sports, they used it for baseball to a ridiculously high success degree. And they were just on a sports betting forum, and one day they just stopped. It was crazy because they had no motive, no channel. They just posted their plays, and he had a spreadsheet, so he posted every day. So he did really well, and I basically incorporated the same type of all the distinctions with his system, cutting it off after 3, optimizing value. The spreads, he didn't use the spreads. He did other things, but he did historical. He looked into the historical matchups of the teams. So we can do all that. My point is, it really is a good baseball system because you play series. Like I said, I think MLB got kind of savvy to the fact people were simply chasing teams not to get swept, because I've noticed we've had a lot more sweeps. So I don't think that's the way to go. But there's definitely ways to go. Maybe picking the worst pitcher out of the two. Things like that. And pitching does really, if you look at baseball, they tell a story with who's pitching. So I think we could do a great job. And the lines tell a story. We can do a great job using the system for baseball. And with plus odds, we'll be able to go 4 legs deep on a lot. So it'll be better there too. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, we're not going to stop. We'll do the Royal Rumble. We'll do politics. We'll do the Oscars. I really don't care. If I think something is obvious, we're going to do it. And, we're not always going to do great. But like I said, here's our plays for tomorrow. I'll have some NBAs, and we're going to do some hockey. And we're going to just hit every sport. And, playing blind. I think that's the best way, honestly, when we're doing it from a metric standpoint. And, yeah, I'll go into the NBA playoffs pretty soon. I'm going to be hitting a lot of basketball just because I think it's a good time. And, again, that'll all make a lot more sense in coming weeks. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.